very good evening and a warm welcome to our first edition of UBC News tonight on this 17th day of June 2022. My name is Lauryn Masika Kazimoto and Muhammad Mugalun Sign Language Interpretation. Before we delve into tonight's bulletin, let's first take a look at the top stories of the night. In our top stories tonight, President Museveni, Algerian envoy, discuss bilateral cooperation. IGG corruption report puts MF and UBOS officials in spotlight. Lands Minister Judith Nabakova holds looming land eviction in Masaka. And in sports, Uganda falters at start at ICC World Cricket League. Good evening once again and welcome to our first edition of UBC News tonight. We start off this newscast with our first headlining story this evening. President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has this morning met and held discussions with a special envoy from Algeria, His Excellency Ramta Lamamra, who is also the Minister for Foreign Affairs of Algeria. The meeting that was also attended by the State Minister of Foreign Affairs of Uganda, Honorable John Mulimba, took place at the President's country home in Rachitura. His Excellency Lamamra had brought a special message and fraternal warm greetings from the President of Algeria, His Excellency Abdulmajid Tebboune, to President Museveni. President Museveni and his guest discussed bilateral cooperation between the two sister countries of Uganda and Algeria in the fields of trade, agriculture and security, among others. His Excellency Museveni lobbied the Algerians to come and invest in Uganda, especially in agricultural value addition. The President said that Uganda produces a lot of agriculture products like maize and milk, and so Algeria should stop importing milk from Europe and buy it from Uganda. On the issue of conflicts in some African countries, President Museveni said that the problem has been over-dependence on the outside countries. The solution, therefore, he said, is working together as Africa. The President gave an example of border conflicts and said that if one country wants to revise colonial borders, they should do it diplomatically. His Excellency President Museveni commended Algeria for being on the right side of the liberation struggle and said they will continue being good allies. His Excellency Lamamra said he had brought a special message and fraternal greetings from the Algerian President, His Excellency Abdelmajid Tebboune, to President Museveni. He also extended an invitation from His Excellency Tebboune to President Museveni to attend the 60th independence anniversary of Algeria, slated to take place on the 5th of July 2022. The meeting was attended by, among others, the Ambassador of Algeria to Uganda, His Excellency Khalid Sharif, and the Ambassador of Uganda to Algeria, His Excellency Alintuma Nsambu. Now, to describe the successful execution of Operation Shuja in the Democratic Republic of Congo against the ADF bases, President Yoweri Museveni used the food metaphor to drive his point home, saying war is like eating food. Food is food, but without different elements added to it, it can be a problem. President Museveni said this while praising commanders and the men of the UPDF for the operation that involved air power, artillery, and accurate reconnaissance that saw ADF bases in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo neutralized and remnants scattering into the vast Rwenzori Mountains and jungles.
In a squad, in a section, in a platoon, no enemy will remove me from here. I will only go from here on orders. Because the commanders have ordered me to go, but not because the enemy has frightened me. This is the confidence I want, and all the officers need to be part of the training.
The Inspectorate of Government is in the process of recovering 9 billion Ugandan shillings that was mismanaged by officials from the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, and 900 million shillings from the officials of Uganda Bureau of Statistics, whose accountability was presented with fake and forged files. While presenting these cases from IEG's investigation, the Inspector General of Government, Betty Kamya, said in the short term, her office is going to use the method of recovery outside court because it is shorter, convenient and guaranteed. Take a look.
The Inspectorate of Government is to embark on using whistleblowers to provide information of incidences of corruption from individuals in different government institutions. This follows a complaint to the IGG from a whistleblower in October 2021, stating that during COVID-19 lockdown, officials at the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries disbursed 9 billion Ugandan shillings to Bukalasa Agricultural College and Fisheries Training Institute for various activities, yet schools were closed. Inspectorate of Government investigations indicate that of the 10 billion 214 million 168,464 shillings transferred by Maif, 8,722,130,799 was mismanaged, spent on non-existent activities at the schools. IG says the culpable persons requested and agreed in writing to refund the money to the Inspectorate of Government recovery account at Bank of Uganda within a period of 28 months.
We insist on them depositing security as they work on the settlement.
The schools, they receive the money, then they go and solicit invoices, or they themselves generate invoices from companies, and these companies are usually their associates. Then they, for the procurement records, they do the forgeries, members of...
The IGG's office, through another whistleblower, investigated staff from the Finance Department of Uganda Bureau of Statistics who had allegedly amassed wealth during the COVID-19 lockdown and established that of the 1,010,731,900 Ugandan shillings that was requisitioned and paid to staff for fieldwork, 33,013,900 shillings was rightfully spent. However, the balance that was mismanaged is to be refunded by the UBOS officials implicated in this matter within 90 days.
Big fuel receipts from the petrol stations, and the others they make by themselves because the petrol stations do not exist. They present false accountability. On paper, activity has taken place, but in reality, nothing has taken place.
Kamya said most of these people became culpable because of carelessness and negligence of duty.
Some of these people, we are sure they did not take the money because they signed away and other people took it. The outcome of this option of negotiating out of court is clear, is predictable, is well known, and the amounts well known. Unlike prosecution in court, where you're not even certain whether the suspect will be convicted.
Meanwhile, the IG's report of last year, 2021, indicates that Uganda loses 20 trillion shillings annually from corruption, bribery and abscondment from duty. I'm Nafka Farida and Abduna Silwama in Kampala.
The Minister for Energy and Mineral Development, Dr. Anne Maria Ruth Nankabira, yesterday commissioned power lines in Kapeke and Nkandwa sub-counties in Chiboga district. The move, according to Minister Nankabira, intends to shape economic empowerment of beneficiary communities.
Education agency continue extending hydro and thermal power to many communities, especially in rural areas. Chiboga district is the latest to receive this development.
Ze lines ezimu ze twasaba President Museveni lwe yajja ku kisaawe Kiboga, Kibiga, Kambugu ze tubadde nga tuyimba bulijjo.
While commissioning the power lines in Kapeke and in Kandwa, the Minister for Energy and Mineral Development, Anna Maria Ruth Nankabirwa, highlights the cause of this project.
Tutegeeza amasannyalaze kati ge tutambuza weegali. Tugenda kufuutuka misinde. Luli nga oyogera mpola mpola tuli sure. Ono ogafuna. 1986 President ng'ajja n'abantu b'okununula eggwanga lino nga Uganda yonna erina megawatt 10. Katulina 1,368.
According to the minister, vandalism, however, still remains the major setback to this project.
Abantu ababba waya si ba gavumenti tosobola kubanga oli patriot n'oli nnyo omuti n'osala waya ab'Ekapeke baleme kufuna amasannyalaze ng'ogamba Museveni abeewo osala amasannyalaze aba Museveni tebabba amasannyalaze era oba omulimba ng'omuwagira ate n'obwosabotaginga. You're not supporting.
Nankabirwa says access to sustainable and reliable energy is a key driver to community development.
So most of these lines you are seeing in the rural areas were negotiated in the line that you are the people who are demanding for electricity. Government does not have money to buy land everywhere distribution lines pass through, but we have borrowed this money on understanding that the people who are asking for electricity will allow us put poles, you know. After all, these are 33 kV lines.
The commissioned power lines will serve the sub-counties of Kapeke, Nkandwa, Nakasozi, Chibinga and Lwamata Town Council.
And we are very optimistic as people of Lwamata that with the coming of electricity, development is going to be fostered. Factories, industries processing maize, industries processing coffee are yet to come in Lwamata Town Council.
But otherwise, I'm happy that the demand is now at the highest.
Robert Onyango, UBC News.
The Lands Minister Judith Nabakoba has halted any planned eviction of tenants in Bukoto Central Masaka district. This was after residents from this constituency lodged a formal complaint to her office citing a pending forceful and fraudulent eviction. Nabakoba has now directed her ministry to investigate the matter and report back to her office in due course.
Masaka district is one of the areas most prone to land evictions. For nearly 15 years now, many tenants and squatters in these areas continue suffering at the hands of the purported landlords and investors who have forcefully evicted them several times.
Yajja n'apunta ettaka side Mangeri ng'alaga nti ettaka eryo alinako ekyapa.
These tenants and residents of Bukoto Central in Masaka district are now living in suspense after receiving notices of eviction.
Atunda butunzi kibanja polo bamala okulaba nti gwakubbi ng'ekibanja kitunda.
Byapa ebyayindibwayo nga bwe babisomye nange ebimu
Lands Minister Judith Nabakoba has now been brought to attention of this matter.
Nasalawo negayirire Honorable Minister ajje kubanga ye alina amaanyi n'abakozi bangiko yeyeka yadda kuteeka ate nabwe temwatutuma mu Parliament kwe tunoona ebiteeso byammwe nga tubitwalira gavumenti yani.
Nyaba Minister ekiri mu ttaka eriri ku Bukoto Central kitabuse nti abantu bafuna ebyapa mu ngeri ey'amankweto.
Although some tenants are willing to have a common understanding with the landlords, many have decried forceful agreements.
Tusaba Minister atuyambe anyigirize abegombolola tusobole okuteekayo obusuulu tusobole okutuula ku Mayiroland mu mirembe.
By virtue of the powers vested in her as the Lands Minister, Nabakoba has halted any unlawful activity on the contested land.
No eviction of any person. Ugandans can pay nominal fee depending on the rates that were put up by the districts. If not, somebody who has worked so hard can buy themselves out, or they can be bought. But what I have seen, most people are willing to pay busulu. So I have emphasized the payment of busulu, which should be taken as a priority, because that's what people can afford as of now. The landlords should be willing to collect their busulu annually.
She has also interested herself in boundary opening.
For the public land, I directed the process of acquiring titles should be investigated. If there is any process that was skipped, then that means that the titles will automatically be cancelled on public land.
Many have blamed the current predicament on the current weak land laws, whereas others believe it is a matter of demand versus money. Robert Nyango, UBC News.
People's Front for National Transition head Dr. Kizza Besigye and Samuel Lubega Mukaku have been denied bail by Buganda Road Magistrates Court. The presiding magistrate, Asman Muhumuza, in declining to grant the duo bail, was of the view that they are likely to repeat the same acts which led to their arrest. We have the details.
People's Front for Transitional leader, retired Colonel Dr. Kizza Besigye and Samuel Lubega Mukaku have appeared at Buganda Road Magistrate Court in Kampala to apply for bail. The duo, who appeared in court from Ruzula Government Prison through their lawyer Elias Lukwago, applied for bail, with each presenting 2 sureties. Among those who stood sureties for the two were the Deputy Lord Mayor Doreen Nyanjura, Kitugum Legislator Daniel Anekelet, Sulaiman Chidandala, and Margaret Okuli, a former Member of Parliament.
We pray that we'll be pleased to find them substantial and admit the accused persons to bail. The other ground, Your Worship, is that they have no record of absconding from court jurisdiction. It's been held in a number of authorities that bail should not be denied unjustifiably, and that remand shouldn't be treated as a punishment.
Prosecution led by Ivan Chadze objected to their prayers, asking court if it is pleased to grant them bail, to give them the most stringent terms possible.
Your Worship, the conduct of both applicants is a sign that they do not respect the legal process. It is on that basis that we propose that both applicants restrained from repeating commission of similar offences.
Magistrate Asman Muhumuza declined to grant bail to Dr. Kizza Besigye and Mukaku, although all presented to court what was fit to grant them bail.
As much as the applicants are protected by the presumption of innocence, their antecedents must be considered. I have no guarantees that if the applicants are released on court bond, they will not engage in similar acts and therefore lead to new charges. It is my opinion that the sanctity and the authority of the court must be protected, and the court should not be sucked into the arena or the theatre of politics. And on that basis, the application for bail is rejected.
Lawyer Elias Lukwago was not pleased with the ruling, which he termed as a political ruling to his clients.
By implication, it means once you have a case already in a court or a charge preferred against you and you are facing a trial on another charge, and once you are brought again before court, you are not entitled to bail. That's a very bad precedent. So this is a matter we are pushing to appeal, and right now we are going to start on the paperwork.
Court will resume on 1st July 2022. Trouble for Dr. Kizza Besigye and Lubega Mukaku started when they were arrested in Chikuwa, Kampala district, while mobilizing Ugandans to protest against the hiked prices of commodities in the country. Deborah Namamonde, UBC News.
Thank you, Deborah. Plant Genetic Resource Center and National Agricultural Research Organization NARO has started a campaign to restore the lost glory of Entebbe Botanical Gardens. According to Dr. Catherine Chiwoka, Senior Research Officer at NARO, Plant Genetic Resource Center has limited infrastructure to support conservation, which has led to loss of several indigenous species. Chief guest at the event was the Vice President of Uganda, Jessica Lupo.
This is Entebbe Botanical Gardens, established in 1898 by the government of Uganda to conserve and restore the variation conserved, as well as supporting agricultural research.
We are making efforts also to have some write-ups, words within the gardens to have people protect, not even to steal what is in the gardens, and not to destroy what is planted.
The center, one of those oldest in the country, recently experienced a storm that blew down several trees in the forest. In a bid to restore the conservation center, NARO has launched a crusade of replanting more trees and conserving the available species.
Because it's very important that after planting a tree, you come back tomorrow and check, has it withered? Is there someone who is continuing to water it? Is it fruiting? And so on and so forth. I support that, and I want to appreciate you for that all-round approach to the tree planting campaign.
We have the technical capacity, but we have limitations in infrastructure, as you saw. Us as a country have to organize ourselves to see to it that we have the required infrastructure to support the conservation, the characterization and deployment of our diversity to support national development.
Groups of food security. In partnership with other conservation bodies in the country, so far 500 trees have been planted to replace the dying species in the gardens, with a target of conserving over 600 species. A request to government to increase the conservation budget has been made.
Baby steps. The gene bank started in 2004 and currently it has about 11% of the total variation of Uganda's plant genetic diversity. But we still need support as a country to ensure that these resources are centrally conserved.
We are really limited in terms of funding. We need funding such that we traverse the country to collect our indigenous species and conserve them for the.
Joyce Adokorach, the research officer at NARO, cited challenges faced in monitoring the historical botanical gardens. A call has also been made to the general public to continue planting trees and conserving the environment in their respective localities.
Uganda Broadcasting Corporation staff of Totore FM in Moroto district have been trained on reporting on the parish development model. The head of sales and marketing at UBC, William Odoch, who represented the managing director Winston Agaba, says the training will acquaint them with the right information on the development model. Take a look.
The UBC top management to declare this workshop open.
Early this year, government launched the Parish Development Model, a wealth creation initiative intended to help in improving household incomes. The media being the key information disseminators on Parish Development Model, Uganda Broadcasting Corporation embarked on training all its staff to acquaint them with necessary skills to report on Parish Development Model.
If you're not doing money, but you're doing something, or even when you're not doing something, you can be supported and that is something. these people are supposed to be in the budget.
Under the environment model, they are developing that kind of framework that is going to be concentrated more within the enterprise groups and within the budgets. And reports are made. And that can be captured in that committee management system, which some of these agencies can monitor from the data that is being captured.
During a training of UBC Totore FM staff in Moroto, the head of marketing, William Odoch, underscored the need to equip the media with PDM knowledge.
What UBC has embarked on doing is to ensure that its staff understand what the parish development model is.
Girl Up Initiative Uganda has celebrated the Day of the African Child with a call of educating children about their rights. The program officer, Girl Up Initiative Uganda, Claire Tosingwire, says there is need for parents and guardians to know the challenges faced by the African child.
Girl Up Initiative Uganda has celebrated the Day of the African Child with children of Motungo parents. A Kampala suburb programs officer, Girl Up Initiative Claire Tosingwire, says adults must offer a listening ear to children for them to know their challenges.
Children are going through quite a number of challenges, and it's very sad that these challenges are not known by the parents or guardians that stay with them every day. When they come to school, the environment is a bit safe for them, but when they go back to their homes, they are facing quite a lot of challenges. There's been a rise in incest. You find girls sharing with you how their relatives are disturbing them, how they're experiencing bad touches from their close people within the house. It is very, very sad. So as Girl Up Initiative Uganda, we are here to celebrate this beautiful day with the children, to tell them and remind them that they need to love themselves. It's through loving themselves that they are able to reach out to other children within their communities.
The celebrations were characterized by music and drama with embedded messages aimed at educating the young generation on how to overcome sexual violence and discrimination. The head teacher, Motungo Parent School, Bainomgisha Innocent, appreciated Girl Up Initiative for changing the mindset of children, especially the girl child.
They do not stop on the girl child, but the entire children. I want to thank them, and as we move from here, please, all the representatives of Girl Up Initiative, take my sincere appreciation to the management of Girl Up Initiative Uganda.
Vincent Odanga, under youth programming at Kampala Capital City Authority, reminded the youth that the authority has laws protecting their rights.
It was specifically formed in order to protect the children and the women and everybody in the community. But specifically, the children of today cannot get worried because the structures exist, and as government, we continue to work hand in hand with all the stakeholders, all the partners, to ensure that the rights of the child is adhered to.
The Day of the African Child 2022 has been held under the theme Eliminating Harmful Practices Affecting Children. Sudat Kaye, UBC News.
Well, UBC News Tonight takes a very short break, but we'll return with more stories.
The Tales of Kasozi, brought to you by Uganda Communications Commission.
Hello, this is Kasozi. How can I help you?
Congratulations. Oh, one good day.
Good day? But I haven't entered any competition.
Owadechi, since you use your phone every day, we have randomly selected you as one of our loyal customers, and you have won a brand new pickup.
Hey, so how do I get this pickup?
The pickup is in Namave. All we have to do is quickly bring it to you. You know, we are delivering many of them. So, just send us 100k for fuel via mobile money and we'll bring it to you.
But Chief, I'm in no hurry to receive it. Namave is just here. Keep it at your warehouse, give me directions, and I will get time to pick it up.
Vow now. If you don't have money, just say.
Tonfera. Never send money to strangers. Winners of competitions are contacted through official channels and are never asked to pay for anything. Stay tuned for what Kasozi does next.
Tonfera. Refrain from unnecessary engagements with strangers over the phone. This message is powered by UCC, MTN, Airtel, Bank of Uganda, and NPSP Association.
The Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, Uganda Revenue Authority and partners invite you to the Post-Budget Breakfast Conference to take place on 20th June 2022 at Hotel Africana, Kampala from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. We shall thereafter hold other regional engagements on 28th June 2022 in Mbarara, Fort Portal, Gulu, Arua and Tororo. This year's theme, full monetization of Uganda's economy through commercial agriculture, industrialization, market access and digital transformation.
Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift, buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial *149 *10# to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial *149 *10*5#. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial *149 *10# to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Are you a player in the tourism sector with a struggling business following the COVID pandemic? UDB, in partnership with European Union, is providing financial assistance to businesses operating in the tourism sector. You can access subsidized loan with grants, loan with a tenor of up to 5 years, free business advisory services, and free environmental impact assessment. Visit www.udbl.co.ug/call for applications to apply. Deadline for submission is 31st October 2022 at 5 p.m. For more information, please call 0414 355 509.
The Oil and Gas Moment, brought to you by Petroleum Authority of Uganda, creating lasting value in Uganda's oil journey. Uganda's oil and gas resources are located within pristine environments. The oil and gas activities are benchmarked on Uganda's updated environment legislation and on the international best practice standards in order to continuously ensure coexistence between the oil activities and Uganda's rich biodiversity. This is being achieved using improved technology to reduce environmental footprint, mapping of sensitive ecological features for avoidance, improving standards of waste management and development and implementation of tools for environment management. These include the Albertine Graben Environment Monitoring Plan, Strategic Environmental Assessment, various environmental sensitivity atlases, and the National Oil Spill Contingency Plan, among others. For more information, visit www.pau.go.ug. Petroleum Authority of Uganda, creating lasting value in Uganda's oil journey.
Welcome back from that break, and we're glad that you're still watching UBC News Tonight with me, Lauryn Masika Kazimoto, and Mohammed Mugalu on sign language interpretation. Now, as we move on in this newscast, the Chinese business community in Uganda has been warned against acts of carrying huge sums of money to their homes or banks without security protection. Kampala Metropolitan Police Commander Stephen Tanui says such negligence attracts thieves, which puts the lives of these investors in danger. This concern was emphasized by the Minister for Security, General Jim Muhwezi, while officiating at Kampala China-Uganda Business Summit of 2022.
For the last 2 decades, hundreds of Chinese have established business enterprises in Uganda. These range from manufacturing, construction, energy, hospitality, as well as wholesale and retail businesses. As much as this has come with positives, some challenges have been experienced. One of them is the relationship between Chinese employers and Ugandan employees.
They are complaining about payments, they are complaining about the mistreatment and the low prices.
This concern comes in the wake of a reported increase in attacks by robbers on Chinese investors in Uganda.
Especially the rising criminal incidents, including robbery and personal injury incidents recently against the business community, as warned by the Uganda police forces, should also be dealt with through cooperation.
We want that the bad people to be punished, to receive the penalty. So you cannot hate people, attack people, and pay some money and ask for bill and then leave.
Such shortcomings could be caused by a possibility of connivance between employees and robbers, some of whom could be armed.
They attack them from inside the supermarkets, inside where we are brought to deploy inside. But when they attack them on the roads, we catch up with them very, very fast.
If you have a routine of taking a lot of money somewhere every time, every Thursday, then at the end of the day, they make sure that you protect yourself before others come to protect you.
This is why Chinese investors are being tipped on security to avoid experiencing incidences of robbery.
We have discovered that the people who work with them inside there know the time when our friends here are taking the money, either home or in the bank.
Whenever you need security, especially when you are transporting money, you should look for police escort.
According to Chinese investors, the consequences of robbery on them have been dire, sometimes leading to death. To this, Minister for Security Jim Muhwezi has a word for them.
The government will do everything possible to make sure that there is law and order, business goes on without any interruption by any criminal actors.
Currently, Uganda is home to over 700 private and Chinese government-backed entrepreneurs and companies, well established in Uganda. Henry Okrut, UBC.
National Curriculum Development Center and the Ministry of Education and Sports rolled out the new lower secondary curriculum in February 2020, aiming at producing graduates with employable skills that are competitive on the labour market. The Acting Director, Directorate of Industrial Training in the Ministry of Education and Sports, Patrick Byakatonda, says students will be equipped with hands-on skills for self-sustenance.
The Acting Director, Directorate of Industrial Training, Patrick Byakatonda, says learners will be subjected to vocational training to prepare them for gainful employment.
When you have that certification, which is vocational, for instance, you have a certificate in domestic electrician, that means during vacation you can work. And the DI already has MOU with Electricity Regulatory Authority. So you can be registered and you work. Run as you earn. So this is the purpose of vocationalization.
The Directorate of Industrial Training is on a familiarization tour of secondary schools countrywide to sensitize and assess preparedness of the new curriculum that is meant to equip learners with employable skills.
This school is critical, and mainly this one we are targeting it to be our center. It already has a DIT center, but also mainly for training of teachers. We are going to train teachers on how to use the assessment and training packages. That is a meeting which we had with the teachers. Then we continue also sensitizing them on how they can implement vocational education and training hands-on.
The Agriculture Coordinator at the Directorate of Industrial Training, Mwanguzi Willis, says the 78 assessment training packages developed for the curriculum have been printed, and some have already been distributed to secondary schools, where others are waiting for disbursement.
Whichever schools we've gone to, we have realized that the implementation of new lower secondary curriculum has started,
and they are very ready in the various clusters.
The head teacher, Mbarara High School, Ham Ahimbisiwe, says the curriculum has made the education sector more practical.
Development, and this is what Uganda has always liked, such that at the end of their learning we can have learners who are ready to sustain themselves, to support themselves, to be innovative, to create employment, instead of going to search for blue-collar jobs.
8 selective subjects for the start to be assessed by the Director of Industrial Training include agriculture, arts and design, entrepreneurship, performing arts, nutrition and food technology, ICT, physical education, technology and design. Students will get a DIT certificate at the end of Senior 3, and each student will sit for only one occupation according to their competence and convenience. I'm Nafka Farida and Muganga Henry.
Teenage mothers in West Nile region have pleaded for backing from government to aid them continue with their education after giving birth. The petition was by refugee learners and those from host communities in Yumbe district as they commemorated this year's Day of the African Child, which is celebrated every 16th day of June. Our reporter Joseph Adama filed this report from Yumbe.
Stigma and discrimination against expectant teenage mothers were the issues of concern raised during a children's parliament organized by World Vision in Yumbe town as part of activities to commemorate the Day of African Child. It is on record that dozens of teenagers experienced unwanted pregnancies during the 2-year COVID-19 pandemic lockdown, resulting in many young girls dropping out of school. Students in refugee camps and those in the host communities in Yumbe district are now advocating for stringent regulations to ensure that the affected teenagers return to class after delivery.
I wanted this to be put in the curriculum, in the new curriculum. It should be added that teenage mothers will go back to school.
Where I came from in the camp, if somebody, a man who is older, rape a child, they don't punish this man to the police station. He will stay there only for sometimes. He pay money, then this man is released out. It means that there is a failure to enforce laws.
Lack of support. Here in a camp, our parents, they are refugees. A man comes and deceives me.
The teenagers also attributed the rampant teenage pregnancy and early marriages to ancient cultural and religious norms that seem to promote marriages among underaged girls and boys.
And I request the government should just to provide a framework on how they can reduce or eliminate harmful practices, mostly in cultures.
Yumbe District Kadi Sheikh Swaib Al-Hai appealed for clear laws to be put in place to deal with those perpetrators who hide behind religion to commit such vices against the girl child.
If a girl sees her first menstruation period, that cannot qualify her to be married off. That is a misconception as misinterpretation of verses from the Quran. Instead, the Quran protects these young girls. Don't hide behind religion so that you achieve your goal.
Speaker of Yumbe District Council, Kasim Asiko, who presided over the parliament session, was excited to see young people stressing important points, suggesting that it becomes an annual event in Yumbe.
And of course, this day will remain historic, because this is something which is first of its kind. I made even a recommendation that this will be an annual event.
Job Awuruku, the child protection and emergency specialist at World Vision, highlighted that the Yumbe district is one of the districts with the highest number of teenage pregnancies in Uganda, a reason why the Children's Parliament was brought to the district.
The recent study shows that in Yumbe alone, over 7,000 pregnancies, child marriages and teenage pregnancies were registered within a span of 3 months from the onset of the lockdown. Together with Yumbe District Local Government, World Vision took lead in organizing what we call Children's Parliament. And this was a platform that was created to ensure that we give children an opportunity to air out their views.
Joseph Odama, reporting for UBC News in Yumbe.
Have waka, you pass the ice through me about my waka. Now come and see for yourself, see my waka that I got with Momo Nyabo. Jambola be waka, look at you waka, see my waka that I got with Momo Nyabo.
Show them waka! Simply deposit 20K or more on your mobile money for a chance to win 3 Toyota Succeeds and money to 2,000 lucky winners every week. We're giving away 24 cars and over 2 billion shillings of mobile money.
Affordable packages, great entertainment, sports, local content, telenovela, the movies. There is something for everybody. Go TV. This is where our best stories live.
Get the best entertainment for any budget. With GoTV, you will have great entertainment for as little as 13,000 Uganda shillings per month. GoTV, great stories, Zidiwano. GoTV Uganda, love it.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift, buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial *149*10# to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial *149*10*5#. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial *149*10# to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Welcome back from that break, and now into the business scene. Uganda's judicial system has been criticized for passing judgments without properly understanding the implications of their judgment on the whole financial landscape. Stephen Kaboyo, an economist and the managing director, Alpha Capital Partners, says the judgments are hampering I beg your pardon, sorry for that technical glitch, but into the business scene, Uganda's judicial system has been criticized for passing judgments without properly understanding the implications of the judgment on the whole financial landscape. Stephen Kaboyo, an economist and the managing director, Alpha Capital Partners, says the judgments are hampering Uganda's quest to attract significant international capital.
Uganda must balance its priorities during these uncertain times. The appeal is made against the backdrop of rising costs of debt, an economy recovering from the COVID-19 pandemic, a weakening shilling and rising costs of goods.
The war between Russia and Ukraine, and if you like, the European Union and America, is so impactful on Uganda that our budget is so badly influenced. Now, if you don't take this into account, your budget is doomed.
Payments of debts are increasingly taking a significant share of the government revenues. With no new taxes introduced, the plan to achieve sustainable growth is premised on significant revenue growth.
Taxes have remained flat. There are no adjustments to any of the taxes. And I think that is a positive outcome, because what you're trying to do is stimulate economic recovery. So the fact that taxes this year have remained flat compared to the previous year is a positive development. From an industry perspective, seeing money being invested in infrastructure development, I think that is a positive development. The discussion around dismantling domestic debt, I think that is a positive development, because as government dismantles domestic debt, they stimulate activity in terms of growing the local businesses that supply various products and services to the government. So those are some of the positive outcomes that are coming through that I think from a banking sector perspective we should embrace.
The tax base expansion, simplification of the tax process, and providing of support for investors under financial duress is emphasized.
Judgments throw a lot of dark paint on Uganda as a destination to attract international capital. So that is very, very critical. Perhaps going forward, we need a workshop, a seminar, and take these judges through what the implication of their judgments are. Because really, for anybody today, when you go to sell Uganda, say we have a hospitality project here that needs $5 million for investment. Said, look, how can we come there when we're not protected? Tomorrow somebody is going to deny that he took the loan, and the courts are saying, injunction, don't move any further.
How government will balance between revenue mobilization, expenditure rationalization, public debt management, and other externalities will be key in achieving the economic growth projected. Government has projected a GDP growth rate of 6% in 2023.
7 budding Ugandan enterprises are to receive $50,000 from the United Nations World Food Programme as a technical support to scale up their business solutions with potential to make food systems more sustainable and address hunger. The 7 business ventures participated in the just concluded National World Food Programme Ignite Food Systems Challenge.
Whereas the UN World Food Programme Ignite Food Systems Challenge selected only 7 businesses on the pitch day. The process provided all the contestants with an opportunity to learn from a qualified advisor panel on how to deliver value and impact from their business concepts.
So while we'll be absolutely thrilled to support the winners, we're also very hopeful that the runners-up, that the broader community of entrepreneurs who have been part of the whole process see that it's created value for them, created opportunities for them and networks for them, so that the impact of this initiative, of this challenge, goes beyond just what we see in the room.
Implemented by Outbox, the initiative under the Ignite Systems Challenge, entrepreneurs were called upon to submit their idea to contribute to addressing issues such as climate change, improving the plight of smallholder farmers, and treating malnutrition.
We work with entrepreneurs, really trying to ensure they have the access to finance, the access to the people, the networks, markets, and talent that can help them succeed. So when it comes to what we are currently seeing in the food systems, but also globally with regards to the economic challenges and rising prices, this is one of the objectives of the Ignite Food Systems initiative.
The process of sourcing and selecting the businesses that were pitched was intense, given the fact that the majority of the applicants were aggregating the entire agricultural value chain with the consumer in mind.
As the Weather Millers, we've come up with an organic food-based solution to help curb the high adulteration of vegetable oils. This, ladies and gentlemen, has 80% monounsaturated fat that is good for your heart, and then it is a very affordable solution. Need I mention, it is produced by yours truly. It's locally produced.
If we got that 50,000, this will help us to go to the next level.
Out of 202 businesses that expressed their interest, 20 were selected to proceed to the pre-selection bootcamp to further develop their concepts, out of which 14 were chosen to take part in the culminating pitch competition. The winning business ventures are Farm Rep, Akel Banker, Chris Grow Uganda, Smart Foods, Awel Millers and Emata, and Omia Agribusiness Development Group.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift, buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial star 149 star 10 hash to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial star 149 star 10 star 5 hash. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial star 149 star 10 hash to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
And now into the world of sports. Uganda has started the ICC Cricket World Cup Challenge League Group B on a losing note after failing to Jazi by 62 runs. In the game played at the Lugogo Cricket Oval, Uganda captain Brian Masaba won the toss and elected to field. The Jazi team utilized its innings with an immaculate 255 runs haul that was enabled by mercurial batsman Nick Greenwood, who returned 80 runs including 11 fours from 93 balls. Greenwood's return was helped by 34 and 43 runs from Harrison and Josh Lawrenson respectively. During its innings, Uganda faced a tight defense by the Jazi team that restricted it to the 193 runs all out in 45.2 overs. Simon Sesazi's 50 and Ronak Patel, who scored 60 runs, were the only shining armor during the chase against an inspired Jazi side. Action continues on Saturday with Hong Kong playing Italy at Lugogo, while Kenya dates Bermuda at Chambogo. Uganda will return to action on Monday against Hong Kong at Chambogo. On same day, Kenya entertains Jazi. This ICC Cricket World Cup Challenge League Group B is of 6 teams, including Hong Kong, Bermuda, Kenya and Italy. It is the second leg of it, the first having been hosted by Oman in 2019 and won by Uganda with an unbeaten 5-match winning streak. All right, and with that, we do come to the end of this first edition of UBC News Tonight. Do join us, of course, for a second edition at 10 o'clock with more stories and much, much more. We do leave you with Alex Kim Semper with tomorrow's weather forecast. See you at 10.
Very warm welcome. Here is the latest in weather from the Weather Center with Semper Alex Kim. Today morning, some parts of the Lake Victoria Basin, especially the western part of it towards Kasese, received some light isolated rainfall. For the rest of the country, it was mainly sunny intervals. But by 9 a.m. this morning, some parts of the country reported some rainfall, like Kampala reported 20 millimeters of rainfall, Tororo 3, and Entebbe reported 2 millimeters of rainfall. Now, the rainfall we are receiving across the country is mainly attributed to the winds coming in from Congo forests into our region, leading to a build-up of cloudy conditions that give way to rainfall activities. That is also coupled with the local effect over Lake Victoria. That is why tomorrow we do expect sunny intervals across most parts of the country, though along the Lake Victoria Basin we do expect some chances of light isolated rainfall. But in the afternoon we expect a pickup of thundering showers across the western sector of the country, though in the eastern it will be quite light but isolated. Because of that, we expect temperatures to be relatively high. That will be across the northern sector of the country at 30 degrees centigrade, 27 in the nation's capital Kampala, and we are forecasting at 24 degrees centigrade. That will be across the Kabale Highlands. And if you're expecting to travel across selected cities like Nairobi, we do expect sunny intervals. But in London, some chances of rainfall at a daytime high of 26 degrees centigrade. Whereas in Cairo, we do expect bright and sunny conditions with temperatures really high at 35, and in Dubai at 40 degrees centigrade. With that, we wrap it up. Stay tuned and join us again tomorrow, same time.
Three things. Well, first and foremost, improving the coordination and collaboration between government, and those are the ministries and departments and government agencies, together with the private sector. That is core. Then secondly, amplifying the voice of the private sector in the budget making process and resource allocation. I'm very glad that recently received actually a communication requesting us to contribute our input into the parish development model on how best we think it can be implemented or structured out. So yes, that voice to be amplified further is one of our key tasks that we would want to see being taken upon. Then thirdly, moving from the rhetoric to action. Rhetoric is just speaking, but then having the action of ensuring that what is said is actually being implemented and done. So service delivery is one of our core. And how do we do it is definitely being able to see how best can we promote corporate governance. This would help us to deal with binding constraints such as corruption. So those are the three key issues that we are planning to speak to.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or gift.
Get freaky too! Dial star 149 star 10 hash to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial star 149 star 10 star 5 hash. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial star 149 star 10 hash to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
The mistake of making stereotyped statements based on gender, race, tribes, religion, to fellow employees or even external customers. What is stereotyping? Stereotyping refers to the habit of entertaining the belief that individuals of a certain group have certain characteristics. The problem, though, is that many times these beliefs can be inaccurate, thence promoting biases and discriminatory behaviors which turn away customers.
Wow. Kusema kweli nilienjoy sana. Kwa sababu nilikuja katika hiyo beach, niweza kuona wasichana wazuri, wasichana warembo. Watoto wazuri wanaojua kucheza. Kusema kweli nilifurahi sana.
The mistake of stereotyping at Skyline coaches could have been caused by a knowledge gap where Fred was not well informed about the impact that personal compliments would make on a prospective woman investor from another culture. In fact, while Fred could have assumed that Alice needed some compliments, such as pleasant words about her fellow Southern Pacific women, Alice, on the other hand, must have expected Fred to relate to her as a potential business partner, and not to mention his experiences of beautiful women during a business conversation. So, how about you? Do you just throw compliments left, right, and center without asking yourself whether a customer will like them or not? If you compliment the customer today, will you be able to compliment him or her again tomorrow and every other day? If you say that she or he is smart today and say nothing tomorrow, what will the customer think? How about when you go on leave? Will those she or he finds in your place be able to shower her with those compliments that she or he routinely receives from you? And those customers who hear you complimenting that person, how will they feel? Did you know that excessively complimenting customers of the opposite sex in the workplace can actually make one come across as loose-tongued, chauvinistic, and one that views women as sex objects? My advice to you is, unless the nature of your business requires you to know some personal information about customers, do not request for a customer's biodata. Statements based on gender, race, tribes, religion, and the like should never be made to either internal or external customers. Stereotyped messages alienate customers and therefore could cause them to shift to those organizations that are ready to make such customers feel accepted for who they are. So, do not chase away customers.
There's nothing here to remind me of my birthplace. There was once a beautiful square, Muranowski Square. I remember trees and benches. I was born in Warsaw into a traditional Jewish family. I went to a preschool for Jewish children where they taught Polish. At home we spoke Yiddish, but I had no problem with the Polish language. We spoke that too.
My parents lived in Warsaw, my grandparents too. We lived at 91 Żelazna Street. By the gate was a tiny shop, which was owned by our Jewish neighbor. He had this trick where he'd pretend to stitch his fingers together with a needle. Of course, it made a huge impression on us kids. We'd be horrified. He had a daughter called Lonia, who was friends with my sister. We lived just like normal neighbors.
My street was Novolipie. Sometimes I can see it more clearly than the Warsaw around me today. In my memory, it's still the same. In the morning, warm pretzels would be delivered. They were called bagels. You won't find bagels like those anywhere these days. You could take one and untwist it.
My parents lived at 49 Maszykovska Street. It was a so-called good neighborhood. My nanny would take me to the Church of the Holiest Saviour. I remember we had to recite prayers. Some children would say they didn't know the prayers. I knew them because my nanny taught me. For me, the war began at the Jordan Park on Bagatela Street. I was sitting in a sandpit and my mum came over. She said, "There's a war. What are we going to do?"
It's the special quality of the Nazi system. People who had the energy to develop something had the power to do it. When Mr. Dengel took over in Warsaw, in early December '39, he had the idea to invite Hubert Groß to come to Warsaw and build a German Bauverwaltung. Groß, upon the advice of Mr. Dengel, developed a dream of reducing Warsaw to next to nothing.
On the screen is the visualization from one of my projects. It's based on fascist plans for the construction of a new German city, the Neue Stadt Warschau. This is a virtual reconstruction of that new Warsaw. This is the city center. It's a relatively small city. The entrances were to be guarded by watchtowers on all sides. These are the main buildings of the new German Warsaw. On the Praga side, there was to be a district for Poles, who would be slowly exterminated. The new German city of Warsaw was to be inhabited only by Germans. There was to be no Jewish population.
With regard to Warsaw, the Führer has decided that the reconstruction of that city as a major Polish metropolis is absolutely out of the question. The Führer's wish is that, in accordance with plans for the territory's development under the general government, Warsaw be reduced to the level of a provincial city. From the diary of Governor-General Hans Frank.
Once the Germans arrived, the terror began almost right away, with various official announcements and notices.
All Jews were forced to wear armbands with the Star of David. It was awful.
In my mind, this was a form of degradation. At any moment, I could be humiliated.
In the spring of 1940, consultations began with a view to creating one or more Jewish housing districts within the city of Warsaw. In the end, however, it was decided that a single district should be established in the area where Jews were traditionally the majority. Dr. Friedrich Gollert, SS Untersturmführer, Head of Division of Regional Planning, Office of the Governor of the District of Warsaw.
Where was the Jewish neighborhood in Warsaw? There were Jewish neighborhoods. Yeah. Nalewki, Nowolipki, where it was almost all Jewish. But when you're a third of the city, you're all over the city. And the interaction with non-Jews was a normal daily event. That comes to a crashing halt with the building of the Warsaw Ghetto Wall, which goes through the heart of the city and divides Jews from non-Jews as they were never divided before.
The wall didn't appear suddenly. Bits and pieces of wall started to be built from April 1940. These were sections of wall or barriers with barbed wire. They popped up in various places.
I had no idea I was Jewish. So first I was asking, why do we have to move? And later, what does it mean that I'm Jewish? And why do we have to leave our home? When we arrived in the ghetto, the first thing